Welcome back to One Solo. My name is Adam Smith, and today inside this featured product video, I am checking out Bloodborne, the board game, but we're specifically talking about an insert for this one. This is really going to condense down the number of boxes that were received as part of the crowdfunding campaign. So whether you picked this game up for solo play during the campaign or picked it up afterwards on the secondhand market, there are a lot of boxes for Bloodborne, and this presents a problem, especially for individuals that have calyx shelves. As you'll know, placing this on a calyx shelf takes up 2 entire cubes worth of space, which is a lot of space to take up for a single game. So I started searching around trying to find how I could condense this down, and that's when I ran into the Etsy team behind Tinkering Paws, which went ahead and designed an insert that condenses 12 total boxes from the crowdfunding campaign. And in this shot here, you can see all 10 of the boxes, the major ones that came from the campaign, but there were 2 other smaller ones, which I've already merged into this box, but essentially takes everything here and merges it down to just 3 boxes. That's right, that includes all the miniatures, all the cards, and not only getting them organized into those 3 boxes, it's not a mess inside, it's not tossing them all inside of a couple boxes. You have every single miniature slotted into an appropriate tray to make it easy to find them. Your cards are all inside of card trays. There's dividers for those trays to break things out. There's a lot to like here, and I'm really looking forward to showing you how this all gets condensed. So without further ado, we're going to take a look at the insert now. We'll get this off the table. Here's a look at the different pieces from the Tinkering Paws insert for Bloodborne, the board game, again encompassing everything that came from the crowdfunding campaign. Here's all the pieces. One thing to mention right off the hop is that Tinkering Paws provided this insert to me as I reached out to them. They were super kind to send it along, and I told them I'd be very happy to show this insert and showing it condensing my collection down, hoping that this will be exactly the organizer I've been looking for this one, as I've had Bloodborne for quite some time, been playing it for quite some time, and haven't really gotten around to organizing this and condensing it down. So that'll be a lot of fun to get this thing into a space that's much smaller than what it currently took up with those 2 full calyx slots, which was a lot of space. Now there's a couple things I want to mention about this insert that makes it unique. Here's a look at the insert without any bubble wrap involved. Foam pieces are still inside, as it shows you that they were caring in terms of making sure that it arrived without any kind of damage and pieces moving around. You're also going to note a couple things here off the hop. The color, you do have the choice of color across these, which is really nice. So you could go for an orange or red, gray, white, or black, whatever color you think ties in with the board game the best. Now, of course, Bloodborne, you'd think red. That was my initial thought. That would also look really good, but I loved the purple look, so I went with that for this one. And you're also going to notice the fact that this thing's assembled. You don't have to tie anything together, glue anything together. All that's been done for you. That's a huge plus about this insert. Something else worth noting is the fact that not only is it assembled completely, but it's also very lightweight thanks to it being 3D printed. It's stable, solid, and when it gets inside the boxes, it's not going to add a ton of weight. Now, this insert is designed very smart on purpose in order to condense all of what you have with Bloodborne down to 3 boxes. So there's a lot going on here in terms of the design to ensure that all those miniatures, and with Bloodborne there is a whole bunch of miniatures that have some pretty wild poses and different ends on them, and getting them all into 3 boxes is quite the feat. Up to this point in the video, I've told you it's going to be condensed down to 3 boxes, but haven't told you what specific boxes those would be. Well, you can see them now. The core box, the Chalice dungeon, and the Forsaken Castle. All 3 of those boxes are going to allow you to house everything for Bloodborne. Something else to be aware of is that on the Tinkering Paws website, you'll not only find a PDF which will walk you through putting everything content-wise into this insert, you'll also find a video as well. So you'll have all the information you need between this video as well as their videos in order to get this thing inside. Now, something else I wanted to mention is that when this video goes out, there currently is a Tinkering Paws discount going on right now. If you use Rolling Solo as a coupon code on top of it, it's going to double the amount of savings for you. And I was was able to get this from Tinkering Paws as a thank you to the community. So if you're interested in this insert, and by the end of this video, if you think this is something you're after, you'll be able to head over to their website and grab it at a discounted rate beyond what they're even offering right now. Without further ado, I'm going to take this off camera. I'm going to fill this entire insert with all the cards, miniatures, and game components, and you're going to see everything packed into all these trays laid out on the table. Here's a look at things in progress. I've already got all the small miniatures and medium-sized miniatures into these trays, and I've begun to put the larger miniatures into them at this point following the PDF or the YouTube video, but I'm following the PDF, and I found it very easy to get all the different miniatures out of each of the boxes and sliding them into these interlocking tracks for each of these storage areas is really, really nice. You can see here that they cannot lift out unless you slide them in. So if you're a painter and you have some really nice miniatures done up, you're going to be able to keep these things from flying around inside the game box. And also there's some really creative usage of space in these. So here's an example of creative usage of space for different sizes of miniatures. You have some which have slid along a track here on the left-hand side, which you can easily pull out like this. You have some which are going in vertical, and there's actually different poses here for each one of these. Some are the same, going and facing a different direction. You have other ones underneath. You also have spaces where two miniatures might go one way facing up, the other one's going facing down. You can see these four miniatures all compact in one area. This is the kind of thing you're going to see across the entire insert, as it saves a lot of empty space and air that's in those original boxes. Now the PDF instructions are telling me to go ahead and build out a rectangle inside the bottom of the core box. The first piece is in position, top right hand corner. You'll notice there's grooves on the sides of this. That's going to allow for these pieces to interlock, keeping them structurally together. I'll show you how easy it is to lock these pieces together. Simply take the next piece and you're going to slide it into the groove and let it go all the way to the bottom, like so. And here's what the bottom of your core box should look like after those four pieces have been put together. Here's an example of some of the bigger miniatures inside the insert. It's as simple as taking the miniature and just finding the area and sliding it in, keeping it housed and secure in its spot. Here's another look inside the box with even more large-scale boss miniatures packed into this area. And again, they're not crunched on top of each other. They each have their own individual slot, but the actual design and the engineering around how all this fits together is very, very well thought out. And here's a final look at the area with all the boss miniatures in their individual slots. And what's crazy to think about this is the fact of how much space these bosses took up in each one of those boxes, which have now been reduced down to just half and a little less than half of the core box itself. Here's a look at the token tray that comes in the insert, a big time upgrade from the one inside the box, which has everything vertical, and you're not able to see what tokens you're looking at unless you remember the sizes or where you put them. In this case, everything is flat horizontal. You can see where these tokens are, where they're situated, and even the actual hit tokens are all broken up by value. Here's a look at the left-hand side of the core box, which I filled out with the regular game tiles. These are stacked from here all the way to the bottom of the box. We also have a smaller pile over here, which is level, with a tray in the back for some small miniatures. Then I went ahead and placed the larger size cards in this tray right here. We have enemies, we have mini bosses, and player aid and other. The dividers, very handy. Also worth mentioning, lots of space to sleeve these ones. They come with that in mind, so if you want to go ahead and sleeve, you're going to be able to. The next tray of miniatures heading into the box, so we're also going to start putting in the larger tiles, which are going to go on top. You'll also see a nice lip right here, keeping things all together with these bigger tiles. Next up, we have the token tray, which goes along the top. You'll see that it sits right on the edge, and also, again, another lip here to make sure that this thing stays in place. The rest of the tiles will fit snug right here up against this area, keeping it from going anywhere, and also locking the tray into place so it can't go anywhere. Next up, we place the trick weapon dashboards in the box. You're going to see these things can't go anywhere. They're two even stacks, and they are secured, again, keeping the tray in place. If I haven't mentioned this already, this organizer supports vertical storage as well. At this point, we're placing the final things on top of the core box organizer. We have a number of dashboards, so I'll move these so you can see them. You'll see these here. We have 2 and 2. These are exactly the same, just flipped over to show both sides. Then we have the hunter dashboards themselves. Then we also have the enemy dashboard, which we'll place on top. And then, of course, the rule books for all the rules that come across all the expansions. So the core book, we also have the Chalice dungeon and the Hunter's Dream all in here. And just like that, the core box has been closed up. We finished one of the boxes. We'll move on to the next. We now move on to the Chalice dungeon box. So we take the bottom of that box and begin placing miniatures inside. Here's a look at the Chalice dungeon box all filled out. You can see the thickness of this box. The miniatures have all been placed all the way around, one after the other. There's a final one here to place in as well, which sits nicely right in the middle. You're also going to notice there is some box lift on this one, but based on all the edges being raised up, this one will be securely closed. That'll do it for the Chalice dungeon box. Let's now move to the Forsaken Castle. Now, just before we populate this one, I want to mention the Forsaken Castle box is the same size as the Forbidden Woods expansion, so you can choose which box you'd like to use for the remaining inserts here. I'm now going to have to move into the cards, so we're going to have to take all the cards and get them organized into those individual card trays. So I've begun to place the miniature trays around the outside of the box. You'll also notice 2 card trays going in. You'll notice that there is a lip on each of these 4 corners. Make sure you're grabbing the one that is supposed to be on the bottom and placing them there. You'll see that difference as these trays will eventually be able to sit right on top of the trays below in order to store cards. So just ensure you have the right ones in the right positions. That goes for both of these. Here's a look at the inside of the Forsaken Castle box with all the cards in the different card trays. This is a very nice sight to see everything organized. Lots of different dividers across lots of different trays with ample room for sleeving. You'll see lots of space to be able to sleeve inside these boxes. You've also got ones which are specific to the characters that you'll be controlling. Got basic character 1 through 4, and then the upgrades down here. You've got all the different scenarios you can play through, all of them in their own separate areas. And again, lots of space in order to sleeve things inside of these. And here's a look with everything inside the box, and does it ever feel good to have all these boxes condensed down to 3? Now you'll notice this is the second of 3 boxes that does have box lift, but again, because of all these high points that are extremely strong, the cover is going to easily sit on top of this, and I'm not worried about it shifting or moving anywhere. And again, this is also able to be stored vertical, as is every box of the 3 that we've just completed. And that, my friends, is going to wrap up this featured product video for Tinkering Paws full-fledged organizer for the Kickstarter all-in of Bloodborne the board game. I am a massive fan of what this was able to accomplish. If you saw the very beginning of the video where I had 12 boxes, technically 10 on screen, 2 of them were housed inside of other boxes, but a total of 12 boxes now inside of 3. This is a huge condensing of the game, and also the speed at which I'm going to be able to set the game up has now just jumped up dramatically as well. Things are all organized, and I'm even more excited to continue to play and enjoy this one solo, as it's one of my favorite games. Thank you guys so much for watching. Let me know in the comments below what you thought of this. Again, don't forget the coupon code in the video description and pinned comment for all of the Rolling Solo viewers out there to add on top of the ongoing sale, which is currently going on at Tinkering Paws right now. Thank you guys so much for watching, and as always, keep on rolling solo.